is a new day. Robert will say it's the International World AIDS Day, and probably the celebration keeps going on very, very good. But of course, my name is Owen. It's the Whistle Time live on West Nile TV. We are lighting up the region, and I am right here joined in by, with, of course, Oscar, the Brazilian. Now, of course, Oscar, most welcome. Yesterday we had an intensive discussion about Onduparaka, about teams in the West Nile, and one person did say, of course, some of the fans were like, Oscar talks so much of Onduparaka, how criticizes a lot. But for me, I believe criticism is one of the biggest things that makes you solve or iron out what really people say. If it's correct, there are those positive and there are those negative ones that come in there. But before we get to all that, you're most welcome. Good afternoon.
Well, thank you so much. I stand in solidarity with the people living with the HIV/AIDS, and I think together we should stand so that we can find ways that by 2030, if we could get rid of HIV and AIDS, that would be a plus for us. Okay. Well, back to people saying I criticize a lot, I think that should be a plus. People should look at it as a plus, because that is a point from where the corrections of things that are not going on well should actually be made. So I have actually chosen that path because I feel that is the right way to go. I cannot always be siding. So this club is big, this club, what is the problem that is making this club stuck? Let this club go somewhere. Let this sporting activity go further. I feel people should learn to accept things objectively.
Of course, that makes us go straight and to tell you that it is not what it is, but this time around, it is what your opinion gives you. Now, if you look at what is coming, let's look at the table standings. I know the table standings, but for the fixtures of the games that were played yesterday in the Uganda Premier League, you did see Onduparaka scoring fast at Greenlight Stadium, but of course, things did not work their way. They had Express had to equalize and make sure things still came in a level, but that makes a lot in there. We saw what the coach said about this very game. It is the Uganda Premier League, but it keeps rotating. Arua Hill won their game, Onduparaka lost. So all those games that were there. Now let's look at the big games in there and the fixtures that are in front of us, probably right there. What exactly lacked into the the Onduparaka team? Because if you look at Onduparaka, when we tried engaging the coach after the game, he said yes, it was not what they expected, but of course he's looking forward to sort out this issue of all the time conceding goals and goals. You score fast, but you can't defend the goal. So he's trying so much to see that he needs to come up and make sure this comes. He starts keeping clean sheets. What was the problem in the Onduparaka game? Was it also missing Okocha in there? Because I did ask him, he said yes, he felt Okocha's of course, absence in that game.
Honestly speaking, I think the gentleman who came in place of Okocha also as well tried his best.
Yeah.
Though the problem yesterday was, I think, the coach failing to manage the game, trying to motivate the boys to win. Sometimes it's about the coach, your character on the touchline, how you have prepared these boys tactically to move. I didn't see that yesterday. So starting from substitution, the goalkeeper was literally limping. And you first want to ask the goalkeeper to agree that he cannot carry on forward. I thought that was one of the things that could have actually costed Onduparaka. If the game had gone for long, it could have costed them in one way that the coming in of Matata Gabriel had actually sealed off substitution for Onduparaka. So what next would have happened? They would have played with a man less. So I admit the team played a good game. They passed the ball throughout the closing minutes of the second half. They passed the ball well. However, the building up of the play, and that is what comes to the basics of the game, that I feel this coach has an idea that he really wants something to happen. But that idea has not been sold very, very well to the players. You saw how they're starting the game. The two center-backs, according to what I know, is that they split at the edge of the 16-yard box. But you found this one, the two center-backs are splitting too wide outside the 18. There's this one, Geriga is this other side of the 18. The other center-back is the other side of the 18. So I felt like that one makes it very easier for the opponents to press. And with the pressure, I know that Geriga is yet a very young player. And he may not cope up with how the pressure of the game would be. It would be very easy to win the ball from him. And then I noticed that he was playing with two holding midfielders. Okay, one was doing the holding, the other one was supposed to do the box-to-box.
Box run, yeah.
The gentleman in shirt number 8. I thought Katerega was supposed to move so much the box-to-box to create enough firepower up front, because Adino Gibson was doing much more of the deep-lying playmaking role, for which yesterday he tried his best. Though the chemistry didn't work, that he was, okay, keeping the ball was the problem, and passing the ball effectively, he couldn't pass it 3-4 times very well, which I know is something that can work on. That means that this player needed much more game playing time. And at the end of the day, I started feeling like this is the player that Onduparaka needed to focus on in the deep-lying playmaking role. Now, the challenge for me in building the play from the back is that you only split the two center backs. But who is that deep-lying playmaker to drop deep to start the play, to receive the ball? Because the two fullbacks are supposed to move high up to where, almost up to where the center line is. So that means the two options is the two center backs, one holding midfielder, probably Adino Gibson, was supposed to drop deep to form a back three to receive the ball. After receiving the ball, where else should you look forward to? Katerega should be the next available option. When he passes the ball to Katerega, who should be the next player to receive the ball? I thought the left back, or probably the winger. That in this case, the brother of Kawarashi, that is Mansour. And I know Mansour is a very good player. So honestly speaking, I think Onduparaka just lacked the basics of how to build a play from the back, how to transit from midfield to attack. Otherwise, Onduparaka should have beaten Express yesterday. I was so disappointed with Waswa Bosa. If Waswa Bosa was organized in the first half, it could have beaten Onduparaka. In the second half, Onduparaka should have gotten a little bit of motivation when Express went a man down to put more pressure. But they couldn't keep the ball well. And another player that is very good at Team Onduparaka but is not being used well is Mansour. Probably even the coaches have not understood how this player actually is supposed to play. Just like the same way Jadon Sancho plays in space. He's not a player who is going to hold the ball to move and run like Ogama Baden. No. He's a player, he passes the ball, creates the space to receive the ball. That's how he wants to move. And I thought Adino Gibson should have actually learned that, even Katerega, that this player is not a player who carry the ball and run with. This player just wants, he opens his space, receives the ball, pass, he just wants to move in that sequence. Now, another undoing for Onduparaka for me was Okech. Okech overholds the ball. And that's where in a game where you want to have possession, in a game where you want to create chances, that's not the type of a player you need in the game. Okech wants to hold the ball and run with the ball. That is not how it's supposed to be done. He as well is supposed to play like Mansour. Touch. Then as you're playing the touch, the left back is moving up front. Mansour is becoming an additional striker. And then Okech is positioning himself to receive the ball, possibly to swing in the cross. Now, the crosses were coming, but where was the height advantage for Onduparaka in the box to head the ball? So those are the basics that you learn. How well do you learn your team? So I felt like the two wingers, if I may call them, they were basically traditional wingers who, when they get the ball, they want to run. The same with Ogama Baden. They want to swing in the cross. But you want to swing the cross, who is that player? And unless if you had a player like Alfred, like who is good in the air, who is good at positioning, that would be okay. Shaban is good at positioning, good in the air. But the Express defenders were tall enough for him. Then they knew exactly how to get him. If you want to silence Muhammad Shaban, you get in man to man. And that's why the Express captain was over moving with him. Don't give him space. And that's exactly now should have opened ways for Mansour, Ogama Baden, and then Okech. But I honestly thinking that Onduparaka is a good team. If only the basics of the game should be taught well to the players, these players can do better.
Now, if you look at the same team right there, they got a very good run in the first half. Second half, still they tried their level best to see things went their way. Let's talk about Muhammad Shaban, who of course scored that goal. Now 2 goals in 2 of the previous games. Let's say the first away game, then of course the home game he has got into the score sheet. Are we seeing the resurrection of Muhammad Shaban this time, if he scores maybe the third goal in the third game that he's going to be playing after the suspension?
Well, Muhammad Shaban has never stopped being a very good player that we know. But I think the other challenge has been that he has had a lot of issues with injuries, a lot of issues with discipline. But I think at Onduparaka, I'm not seeing him making headlines for the wrong reasons. He has been patient. He has been always trying to make the goals come. I'm glad that in the last 2 games, the goals have actually virtually come. But the challenge here is that for you to get the best of Muhammad Shaban, you need to get good creative players. You also, the games Muhammad Shaban have been scoring 2 or plus goals in a game has been, who is that midfield player who picks Shaban with a long range pass? Shaban can sprint. He knows how to make a good run behind defenders. He knows how to trick defenders. But who is that player to put the ball behind the defenders, or to put that killer pass for Muhammad Shaban to actually sprint or to cut into the 18-yard box and get the goal? That player is not there. Ever since Muhammad Shaban left Onduparaka, and it was basically because of Gaddafi Gadino. You would see Gaddafi Gadino knows where to pick him. Long range pass, short range pass, he knows what to do.
Even Wahab did that.
Yes. So those type of players with those characters and qualities, I have not seen them in Onduparaka now. And those are the qualities missing. I'm not saying they should bring them back. Yes, they have accepted that this football is a journey. Coaches and players are on a journey. Today they're in this club, tomorrow they're probably in another club. But what plan B do they have in that midfield? I'm quite sure that a right-thinking coach who knows tactics, who knows how his team is supposed to play, how he's supposed to benefit from Shaban, you need to have creative players. Now that Agao was out, Agao could have been another creative player. But Agao has also been fighting issues of consistency, has actually not been there. He's a good player, but he's not consistent. And that doesn't make you effective. So I feel Adino Gibson and Katerega are not doing enough in terms of creativity. Then that falls with Katerega. His main role is box to box. Bruno Fernandez's role is his role. How do you pick up the ball from the midfield where Adino Gibson is supposed to win the ball for you, gives to you? Now you are the one to now distribute the ball. Where is Ogama Baden? Where is Mansour? Where is Muhammad Shaban? Is he well positioned enough to receive this ball? Should I put it there for him in space for him to chase? I think those are the few things that is missing in the Onduparaka team. If they correct that, the best of Muhammad Shaban will be seen in every game.
Now, yesterday it was the man by the names of Mayo who was given the man of the match. That guy who played, of course, that is the right-hand side or the right-back Indian, was given the man of the match. Did he deserve that?
It was a very big of a debate. I was seated with a colleague journalist who was asking me, whom do I think deserves that? And honestly thinking, I thought Muhammad Shaban deserved it. In my opinion, he got for you the goal, and he tried his best to run around on the pitch. He did not lose focus. He was committed from the word go up to the end. I thought Muhammad Shaban deserved that.
2 goals in 1 game, but of course each a piece for the 2 different clubs, and out of that you did see Muhammad Shaban scoring the first goal and Luesiwa getting in the equalizer for that is Team Express Football Club. It is another big one which leaves, of course, on Onduparaka at number 11, and the big game that saw them, of course, had there. Now, of course, they'll be having a game against Wakiso Giants. That's their next game. That will be right there. Let's cross to, that is Arua Hill Sports Club before we go in for a break. But of course, Arua Hill Sports Club, Alfred Leku's return also still shined yet again. Very many say, no Leku, no goal. Is that what you also say? Because after he's coming back from the suspension, he got the goals for, that is Arua Hill Sports Club. 1-0 it was against Busoga United.
Well, I think this is now 7 games, 3 goals for Alfred Leku, if I am not mistaken. Because the game against Express, did he score?
Express, he didn't score.
It was against
giving passes.
Against URA.
Seru and Kawa scored against
was against URA, and then against then the game of yesterday. That means 2 goals. But he should be having 3.
He has 3 games, 3 goals.
He has 3 goals.
Because
so
away also he scored.
He scored, yes. So my issue is that
where I got that red card. Yes.
My issue has been that not Muhammad Shaban, Alfred Leku has been a very good player, rejuvenated. The coaches have worked, according to them, they have really worked on him, and I can literally see that the player they're now depending on is Alfred Leku. Now that should be pointing, If you can work on Alfred Leko and he improves that much, what is it that you're not doing to the likes of the Iserus? What is it that you're not doing to the Sekamates? I met him yesterday, I think. He did not travel with the team. I think the player I met yesterday jogging around Barifa from Muni to, I think, was he. But honestly speaking, I have a feeling that maybe the coaches need to start revisiting, to start now asking themselves this question. Did we sign players or we signed con artists? It could be so harsh.
Con artists?
Yes, it could be so harsh, but honestly thinking, these players need to prove their worth. Just like I said yesterday, these players, by the time they were brought, I'm quite was optimistic that their sign-on fee commanded a high amount of money. So these are players who are coming to improve. They are supposed to actually now just do the work, not learn how to do the work. And yesterday's win was a very, very good one. Otherwise, we could have been seeing the last nails on the coffin for Mbabazi. But I am glad that Arua Hill won the game. And we would like to see them again get consistent. The margin by which they're winning the games is again worrying. Does it mean you don't have creativity? Because 1-0, 2-1. Let them just announce to this country, this is Arua Hill. If URA can beat Vipers 2-0. If Vipers can beat Bull 8.
Recently, URA beat a team 6 goals.
Yes. Those are the type of things we actually need to see from Arua Hill now. Because in terms of the expenditure, I think they are the money bags when you get to the West Nile region. Even at the national level, there are few clubs that they are competing with. Probably Vipers, probably KCC,
but
probably
Express, the way they came yesterday, they came even in a car. Already discussions are going on. The car was a little bit a number plate, which is very old, and people are like, how do Express come in such a vehicle?
It's possible, but and honestly, I feel that Arua Hill needs to sit, especially the technical team, needs to sit down. If they can work on Alfred Leko and improve, the big question is, why is it failing on the other players?
Now, Alfred Leko's goals have been very crucial to Arua Hill Sports Club in their own way, you could talk. But of course, he has been a very crucial player for Arua Hill Sports Club. After his goals will always send Arua Hill to another level. Right, yesterday's goal sends Arua Hill to number 8, opposition number 8, with 10, of course, of the points right there. They had 7, and of course now Onduparaka drops to number 11 with, of course, 9 points. They are having 9 points, and that's how exactly the two teams are in there. I know very many, but of course, Kesus here still leads the table with 19 points, and you have Wakiso Jans with 15 at number 2, and Onduparaka faces Wakiso next, of course.
On Sunday.
We'll be taking on, that is Bull is at number with 14 points, and then of course UPDF with 14 at number 4, Vipers with the 13 at number 5, and then of course Express with the 12 at number 6, URA 7th with 11 points, and of course Arua Hill with 10 points. And Mbarara City yesterday also won their game. Of course they say here and there, Sports Club Villa, Mbarara beat Villa by 1-0. And of course, Mbalangu still keeps moving, as maybe people said already he is not going to be with the team because Mbarara is looking for a coach to see that he takes over in there. And probably Mbalangu's team that he has assembled ever since he go, it's not yet a bad position for him, probably by then he's starting, but he has dropped to number 9.
Is he not ahead of, I think he has, before this game he was ahead of Arua Hill?
Yeah.
So I don't know honestly what is happening at Mbarara City, but honestly speaking, I think Hussein Mbalangu is doing his best. He might be facing a challenge, but of course, you know, the way Mbarara City is not the same environment, the same situation at Arua Hill, that you can ask for this player and you'll get this player. But at Mbarara City, you literally need to make do of the players that you have. You all know, you and I have the experience of FUFA Big League. When you go unbeaten in the FUFA Big League,
it means a lot.
It means a lot. It just doesn't mean the win only. It means a lot that we may not be discussing here for today. But honestly speaking, I think from the number of games that he has actually managed and where he is, I think people should give him credit. Because ask yourself, how much was there in budget? You're looking at Mbarara City that doesn't have so many of the players that we actually used to know. I don't think Hillary Mukundani is still there. So there are several other players.
This who has gone to Vipers.
Ahabwe.
Yes, Ahabwe.
And then the Paul Muchurezi is no longer there. And all they used to have a talented crop of players, but now things are changing, and they don't have that much budget to facilitate to get those players. And I think I've been always saying this, that teams should always, in the setup that we have in this league, the best for a team to do is to focus on the youthful setup. Once you have a very good youthful structure, you can structure it in the under 17 and the under 23. Once you have that transition of, we have this player coming from the under 17, graduating to the under 23, and at least every season you find yourself having players who have gone through the ranks, and when they break into the first team, these are players who are going to give their best. And these are players who can have future, who can play for you 5-6 seasons. And then these are players who you can model and you sell. We have, from the last 5 years, the players circulating, almost the same faces are circulating in this league. Almost the same faces. You can hardly see those days under Mike Mutebi. You are seeing the Sadats are coming out, the Alan Okelos have come out, they have proved their point, they have been sold. The Ramadans, you find this other Alur guy who was playing as a centre back. There was some feel, but these people are coming, and when they come, you find today Awanyi is not there now. The Oben Shans are coming. The Ibrahim Saddam Jumas are no longer there, but there are other crop of players coming. So the
likes of Anna who come from there.
So this transition is there, and that is what the clubs should adopt. If you don't adopt that, you don't have the money to keep buying these players. Like Vipers can go and buy a player from DR Congo. Where can Mbarara City get the money? I'm not saying they don't have the money, but you may not spend as big as Vipers.
Okay, let's leave that there. But of course, a couple of games will be coming right on card. Now, to give you a little, is to say that, of course, Uganda Premier League today games will also be on card. You will be seeing teams like Gaddafi taking on Vipers. And then, of course, you have also Kampala City Council, KCCA, taking on Bull Football Club. That's also another big one that will be coming right through your ways right here. Those are some of the games that will be coming. As we take a break, we'll be right back to give you more of the, of course, international stories and of course games coming also right in the international stories. The biggest will be tomorrow, but of course yesterday, today, a couple of games have been on action. Stay right hooked to West Nile TV as we light up the region.
West Nile TV. Meyuder Ingomwa.
Either be led and shepherded by Jesus Christ.
Radio Network. He is also with the West Nile Press Association.
Viewer, and welcome to the Viewpoint on West Nile Television.
On the 19th of December 1993, and was ordained a deep.
That is absolutely fantastic.
Hey, why aren't I up there? My heart, say you love.
I've watched the Sports Club when that saga of Mbabazi.
West Nile Television is regulated by the Uganda Communications Commission.
Welcome yet again for this edition of the Whistle Time. But of course, from that break, I want to say it is now another good one to have international stories for you. And of course, the transfer speculations already, you know, we're getting straight to January. It's a new month, and we are December now to January, only 1 month. Teams are already talking. But let's start with the games that were played yesterday, and of course, in the different leagues right there. English Premier League. So, of course, Newcastle United played Norwich City. It was a 1-1 draw. And then, of course, Leeds beat Crystal Palace by 1-0. After, of course, Aston Villa also had a very good run against Crystal Palace in the weekend. But let's start with Newcastle. Still draws, keep flying with all that money.
I remember telling you, I mentioned something here about us having con people. So, honestly speaking, in the Ugandan league, in your league, there are a lot of con players. One of them is at Calvary. I will not mention his name. They are just con players. I know them. But honestly speaking, with that money, first of all, I obviously told you here on the show that I was not pleased with the bringing in of Eddie Howe. You can't tell me you have all that money. The richest club in the world right now is Newcastle United. And honestly, you're telling me you're going to hire Eddie Howe? That is probably the time for you to shake the wall and say we want Arsene Wenger. Stick to that. We want Zinedine Zidane. Now dream big, because you now want to take this brand somewhere. I'll give you an example. When Claude Ranieri was at Chelsea in 2003, the 2003-2004 season, that's Arsenal went unbeaten. The performance was not all that well. But soon as Roman Abramovich took over, he said he needed to take the club to the next level. And he went immediately, and he knew that Jose Mourinho had built a very good CV. With the little known players at FC Porto, he won the UEFA Champions League, beating Monaco in the finals. So he knew he needed that type of a coach to come and check the English Premier League. Actually, the coach that changed the face of the Barclays Premier League. Sir Alex Ferguson, I have respect for him. He has done his. Arsene Wenger has done his part. But the person who brought a lot of competition, who brought a lot of hype, who brought a lot of love for the game in the Premier League was Jose Mourinho. Since he joined from 2000, he actually completed the 2003-2004 season. 2004-2005, you could literally know that Jose Mourinho was going to win the title. He was given money even to buy.
Any player.
Roman Abramovich even told him, I can't even get for you Ronaldinho. He told him, I want Didier Drogba. I don't want Ronaldinho, I want Didier Drogba. So we started seeing the signings. There was signings like Cavallo,
yeah.
in the midfield. He brought the likes of Gary Cahill. There was the likes of Michael Essien, the likes of Obi Mikel that he snatched from Manchester United. He was already at Old Trafford. He snatched him. I had the likes of Andrei Shevchenko was forced on him. The likes of Michael Ballack. The likes of there was Julian Belletti. Remember when? Yes, the likes of Julian Belletti, Ashley Cole, the William Gallas. He brought Makelele from Real Madrid. So he literally built a team, and that Chelsea team took a very long time. Almost all the managers that came after Jose Mourinho, most of them, if not all, used those players. Yeah. Yes. You find it Avram Grant, Roberto Di Matteo, there was Gus Hiddink, this one who just left for Madrid, left Everton, Carlo Ancelotti, most of them. So he built a very, very good team. Now, ever since then, Chelsea had never looked back. Chelsea has remained a team that within 3 seasons, at least Chelsea will have to win for you the Barclays Premier League. Or better still, Chelsea will have to go and challenge in the UEFA Champions League to go somewhere. So I thought that was the hype that I would see Newcastle United bring. I did not see that. The same thing that Thaksin Shinawatra did at Manchester City.
Yeah.
So when he came to Manchester City, yes, of course, he brought Steven Goran Eriksson from the English national team. Not so much was seen from him, though they were buying the likes of the Joe Harts came into the game. You also the likes of the Boyatas came to the game. But honestly speaking, ever since Sheikh Mansour took over, they brought managers that were supposed to deliver. You remember Roberto Mancini, after Roberto Mancini, Manuel Pellegrini, after Pellegrini, things were not working out well, but they said we are going for the big person. They brought Pep Guardiola. When you have the money, take the club somewhere. So the appointment of Eddie Howe was a very big disappointment for me. And honestly speaking, I'm not expecting anything to improve very soon at Newcastle United, because the players have not changed, and literally there's not much that has changed from the team that was using 5 players at the back. We're using 5 players at the back for what? Tactically, what do you want to achieve? You will not get anything when you're using 5 players at the back. Are you playing against Barcelona? Are you playing against, even if you're playing against Manchester City? What about some teams that even go with 3 players at the back, but they still beat Manchester City? So I still feel there is nothing that unique that Eddie Howe is actually brought to Newcastle United. His style of play is very simple. You have 2 wide wingers, then the basics, the basic ones in the game. Basically, he's playing 4-4-1-1, sometimes 4-4-5-1. So honestly, I thought that the best thing Newcastle could have done is to get an interim person to make sure that Newcastle United stays in the league, and then from next season go for a better manager. And I'd given a list of options from my opinion. Alan Pardew had known the inside and outside of Newcastle United. He was the manager who tried to take Newcastle even up to the Europa. Remember that period of late Sheikh Ismail Tiote, the Fabrizio Coloccini's, the Gutierrez, the likes of Demba Ba, the Papi Cisse's. That was the time that Newcastle, you would even literally see Newcastle is the better team. Now, leave that aside. You can even go for Big Sam. Big Sam is still available. So honestly, to me the choice wasn't good. I'm not expecting anything to change soon at Newcastle United.
It's a very big one. Now, of course, our time is also running low, but I want us to really talk about something a little. Ralph Rangnick is coming, has brought eyeballs, and very many players could lose their duties. One of them is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Already he's talking about the man, of course, Lamptey. He's one key player. He thinks Manchester United needs to get in January to replace, to come and play probably that position, because I know his place is the Wan-Bissaka position, and he can do deliveries, he can run with the ball, he can defend. That's one thing with him. Do you think this will be a very good addition to this team of Manchester United?
Well, bringing in Lamptey is going to be a good thing in a way that when you look at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, you can achieve so much with Wan-Bissaka when you're going with a defensive mind approach. You achieve well with him.
But the man said for him, even a goalkeeper needs to play. Because
yes, and that is what a modern coach actually looks at. A goalkeeper, back in the days, a goalkeeper's role is just to stay there. Even the goal kick is not taken by the goalkeeper. The number 4 or number 5, those days as we used to call them, will be the one to take. But these days things have changed. The goalkeepers have actually become part of the game. You need to have a goalkeeper who's not just a shot stopper, who is a sweeper goalkeeper, somebody who is comfortable with the ball, who can as well play it. So when you look at that, a player like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, he's a much more of a traditional player. He reminds me of Antonio Valencia. Though Antonio Valencia was so much effective in the final third as well, drafting those crosses. But in a game, you could literally, sometimes you could keep counting how many crosses is Aaron Wan-Bissaka delivering. And you know that in a modern game, the ability of fullbacks have now become paramount in the game. Basically, that's why you see at Manchester City, the movement of Kyle Walker is so much needed up front. The movement of Trent Alexander-Arnold is so much paramount, especially in the final third. So if you want to go with a defensive-minded game, the player you would go with is Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Trust me, when it gets to one-on-one situations, one of the best players you could think of is him. It is not easy to pass Wan-Bissaka in a one-on-one situation. So many players have actually tried. So in that type of approach, you need to have other players, especially when you need to have more bodies in attack, more movements. Then that's not the type of player you need. And I'm quite sure the truth is that that's not the type of player who will flourish under Rangnick. Rangnick needs players who are much more, you play like the Philip Lahm type of players, the Dani Alves, the Trent Alexander-Arnold. Those are the type of players he wants. because at the end of the day, you have an identity that needs players to be moving in that shape. So I feel, yes, it is true that he may really struggle under Ralph Rangnick.
Now, of course, one of the big news also is that Arsenal probably in January could let go of Pablo Mari, who has been, of course, a player at Arsenal, and losing this, could that be a very good one for Arsenal? Losing Pablo Mari, he has not been a consistent player.
Those are some of the con artists I'm talking about. Because ever since Pablo Mari came to Arsenal, the best you've been hearing about him is in the dressing room.
Oh, he's in the sick bay.
Yeah, he's just in the sick bay. So that probably is not, it may not be his making, but all the same. When you're in a big club like Arsenal, you need to deliver. You're not there for experiment.
All right, our time is really right down, but of course, that's Pablo Mari for you. We are saying we want to see whether he will be right there, but of course, probably he is the man said to be leaving Team Arsenal anytime soon by January. So we're waiting to see how exactly that will be. But of course, Oscar, let's summarize this up. But before we summarize it, Arsenal plays Manchester United tomorrow. That will be a very big game. But today, a couple of games will also be on card for us to watch. One of them is the Marseille Derby, where Everton takes on Liverpool. And then, of course,
the Merseyside Derby.
The Merseyside Derby, where you see Everton taking on Liverpool. And that's a game to watch. And then, of course, we have Aston Villa, Man City, Wolverhampton, Burnley. And then, of course, West Ham taking on Brighton. Watford takes on Chelsea. And, of course, Southampton welcomes Leicester City. We'll be talking about that in lengthy. But one big thing is that for those who were expecting, like Jonathan, that the new interim coach will be on the touchline tomorrow,
it's too soon for
he's
him.
not going to be there because he does not have the
work permit.
So that's one big one. Let's summarize it up with any of the games you choose to in the Premier League.
I would so much want to I wish I had more time to analyze Manchester United so that
that one can be tomorrow because we're having it tomorrow.
We'll do more of tomorrow. But the Merseyside Derby, it is always a big game. Should not be underestimated. Liverpool flying high can easily be stopped. And in the back of that loss that Everton has actually had, so it will be a very, very tight game. It's just because of the interest of time. I wish we would analyze this more, but I'm still expecting Liverpool to continue with a good run, though it will be a hard-fought win for them.
And of course, we want to say thank you so much for watching and for all the time keeping it on West Nile TV. For those who are following us on the app, I want to thank you so much. For those who have not got the app, you can download and watch West Nile TV anywhere you are in, that is the country. And of course, follow all the updates. And remember, the news bulletins will also be coming very soon, so you should be expecting all this. So your movement with your portable TV in your hand will be one of the biggest probably for you to get in there. But of course, remember, we are powered and sponsored or powered by B Tips, and you can also bet instantly. Couple of games today. Just go to